Greetings everyone and welcome. I'm your host Captain Rye, and in today's video I'm playing in the Tier 8 Premium Japanese Destroyer Asashio here in World of Warships. As the battle gets underway, it is Loop, it is Domination Match Mode, and it is a Tier 10 maximum battle with carriers in play. This is post-patch 8.1, so of course, new carrier gameplay dynamics, something that should be taken into account in this game. But I'm not too concerned about being a bottom-tier destroyer, because I am in the Asashio. I have a reasonably tight little detection range there, and some nice and wonderful long-range 20-kilometer quick torpedoes. If you're unfamiliar with the Asashio, though, and you might be, it doesn't pop up in too many battles very often, these 20-kilometer torpedoes are deep water only torpedoes, and more importantly, they cannot hit cruisers, unlike the Pan-Asia destroyer deep water torpedoes. So my targets with these long sneaky fish are limited only to the biggest and heaviest on the enemy team. Now, I push up here into the A cap point. There are 2 destroyers on each team, so there is a possibility that I may be able to sneak into the A cap point and secure it uncontested and unmolested with any luck. First set of torpedoes is up and away. I'm firing off down this channel here because, as you can see in the distance, I have that torpedo range, but there's a lot of ships back over there. There's a couple of battleships back over there. I'm kind of hoping that what will happen is they'll all push up between those 2 islands down that channel, and then they'll try and play peekaboo with my teammates, not fully realizing that they've left themselves wide open and exposed to a torpedo attack. Use the torpedo reload consumable here to get a second set away. This is something that I really like about this ship, and what makes it crazy dangerous if you find yourself facing it, because I have 8 sets of torpedoes I can launch off at once and then pop that, and within 10 seconds launch off 8 more torpedoes. So if I smoke up, fire off a set of torpedoes, you think you've managed to torpedo beat most of them, all I can say is you should probably say your prayers, because the odds are I'm about to come and give you some what for. In the meantime, have secured the A cap point, but as we see, the enemy team is in the process of securing B, and they are going to take it, and it looks like they're in the process of securing C as well. There's the enemy Tier 8 Premium Destroyer, the Kid there. He's dropping a smoke screen, so we know he's in the B cap point. Again, unfortunately, I can't torpedo him because my torpedoes will not hit. As we can see there with the cruiser, the Kronstadt, my torpedoes will not hit him either. Did, however, manage to connect some torpedoes on that Montana as he continued to sail back there. And it looks like, at least briefly here, he is flooding out with that torpedo hit, so that's kind of lucky for me. Really hoping I can get a second torpedo hit here or a few more. He did put the flooding out and did stop it, so that's a little bit disappointing, but it is to be expected. He probably didn't realize he was flooding for at least a few seconds. Enemy team does take an early first blood here and the lead as they kill one of our cruisers. They did secure the C cap point, so they do have 2 caps now. They are gaining points at twice the rate, something that my team is going to have to think about. And if you look at the mini-map down there in the corner, that's going to be a bit of a problem, as, well, pretty much all of my teammates are clustering up, lemmying, training towards A. But also, let's look at where I'm at in relationship to the situation. I am now in what is effectively the enemy team's spawn. I am in the backfield, where all of these enemy ships, well, they're all facing the other direction, and they're all looking to keep these islands between them and the enemy, my teammates. So they're not really going to be thinking too much, or too hard, about a lone destroyer hiding off in the backfield firing off torpedoes until said torpedoes hit their mark. We did manage to take a destroyer advantage here as our Lo Yang took out the enemy Kid. This is fantastic for my team, because the kid can be a bit of a problem child if you're not careful with it. Like Soviet high-tier destroyers, it does come with a heal. It does only have one set of torpedoes, and they are Benson torpedoes, so they're kind of slower on the reload, but they can cause some serious problem. Speaking of torpedoes and serious problem, our Lo Yang has just managed to get nailed by a set of torpedoes from the enemy Minotaur. Now, he is effectively making a suicide rush here. He's gonna get his torpedoes off here. There's one set, there's two sets, so he did get both sets off. Unfortunately, he's firing his torpedoes effectively bow onto the Minotaur, and so he only connects with one there. Really disappointing there. He effectively suicided into that guy for, well, no reason. Also, unfortunately, again, I can't help him with my torpedoes, and I can't torpedo those guys back over there, even though they're in perfect position, trying to keep that island between them and not moving effectively while doing so, because my torpedoes don't hit. However, I have found myself a preferred priority target, the enemy carrier, who is, as far as I can tell, effectively just chilling. Now, from the looks of it, he has attempted to attack our friendly carrier or some other ships. He is controlling his aircraft back over there. Unfortunately for him, I'm not sure if he realizes it yet or not. He is being detected. He is going to get shot at by, well, some friendly big guns back behind me. Fire off two sets of torpedoes at the midway there. Fire off one set down the channel into the B-cap point, hoping I can catch one of those battleships coming up into the B-cap point. Used again that torpedo reload boost and fired off that set. Now I am being detected. There's the radar that I was kind of concerned about. That's going to be from the Desmonas back over here. Luckily for me, the Desmonas doesn't have a lot of health. Also luckily for me, neither him nor the Minotaur are pointing their guns at me. They seem to be otherwise preoccupied and too busy doing other things. Now, unlike a lot of other destroyer captains, I'm a Fletcher main, and I tend to like to play all of my destroyers the same way, like my Fletcher. So in this particular case, I am not afraid to open up with my guns and use those guns. Start taking shots in from the Minotaur. Do manage to kill the enemy midway with my torpedoes. That makes me really happy. Enemy carrier down. My team does take out the Des Moines there. That's also wonderful and lucky for me. Radar, very bad if you're in a destroyer. Gonna go ahead and pop my smoke screen here because I want to drop off detectability before that Minotaur could cause me some problems. But of course, in doing so, I am no longer detected, but I am no longer detecting that Minotaur. My team now currently in the lead here as we are twice as many ships, 4 enemy ships dead to our 2. Enemy team still, though, holding 2 of the caps, so they're still gaining those points twice as quickly as my team, and if we're not able to push into and secure the B cap point and kill more ships, we are going to find ourselves in a very bad situation in the long run when it comes to those points. Can't tell you the number of times I've been in a game where the enemy team has managed to pull an upset win simply because my team has been unable to secure those caps. Now, enemy Kronstadt coming around from behind the island there. He has got a Montana full on right there. There's some shots out from him. Ends him pretty hardcore. Sailing in front of him, firing off torpedoes down range there. Something that you will notice on this ship here is that the torpedo reload booster takes a little over 3 minutes. The torpedo reload regularly takes a little under 2 minutes. If you time it right, you can fire off a grand total of 6 sets of torpedoes before your next reload booster is available, and then you can do it all again. Now, I'm going to push up here towards the B cap point, partly because I'm the only destroyer left on my team. Also partly because the enemy team has just lost their only remaining destroyer, so that's going to give my team an advantage here, especially because it's me. Now, I opt to fire on this Alabama because I don't really have anything else to shoot at right now. I might hit him with a torpedo, but it doesn't look like that set's going to do it. I might hit him with a second set. Hard to say at this point. Again, firing off, see if I can set that fire. Would have been wonderful. No fire set, but that's okay. Drop off detectability as it disappeared behind the island, and then was briefly detected, but once more, going to drop off detectability here, and this time, for sure, dropping off. Now, as I push up here into the B cap point, we can see that friendly Moskva gets taken out here. I can, or could have, torpedoed from behind him. Again, my torpedoes won't hit. However, friendly Republique pushing up hard and fast, there's no way I was going to risk torpedoing with him in front, so I'm moving into position to try and get in front of him so that I can fire off torpedoes downrange. You'll notice again, my torpedo reload booster consumable almost available here as I push up in front. Can't provide a friendly battleship with a smokescreen. A little bit disappointed there. Pop that reload booster. There's my first 2 sets. Now, look at what's downrange. I've got 2 different battleships there, both within range, and there's another battleship even further back behind. Again, all of these battleships are within range of my torpedoes. What the enemy team probably does realize at this point, while they continue to pound away at the friendly Republique in the cap, is that the cap continues to go up, so they probably are aware that the only remaining destroyer on the enemy team, me, is sitting in this cap, at least if they are playing intelligently. Managed to connect another torpedo on that Montana, and this is probably the same Montana that I have hit previously with a torpedo, so he's probably not too happy. Now, pop a smokescreen, I'm going to go ahead, start firing at him. With any luck, I'll be able to set some fires. You'll notice his engine is knocked out there, and I'm gaining damage points, so he is flooding, and he is unable or unwilling to resolve that flooding. Trying to secure the kill here. Can I do it? There's a fire. Come on, burn him down, flood him out. Yes, did it with flooding. There's my second kill in the game. And more importantly, that flooding damage, so glorious, as we'll see toward the end. Enemy team now down to just 3 ships. They have 1 cruiser left. And it is a very dangerous cruiser, especially for a destroyer. It is the Hindenburg. Torpedoes, good hydroacoustic, 12 reasonably quick firing guns, and secondary batteries, of course. But they have 2 battleships left, and battleships, as I've mentioned, are the targets that I can hit. Very fortunate in this game, I should say, that I had a lot of battleships to shoot at with a lot of health pool so that I could get some nice high damage. Waiting to fire off my torpedoes here. I've just got a few more seconds left looking at this Jean Bart here. Now, friendly Hindenburg has fired off torpedoes. I'm not sure if those are actually going to reach the Jean Bart, as I believe the Hindenburg's torpedo range is only 8 kilometers. And no, they do not, in fact, reach it. So fire off torpedoes at the Jean Bart, bug out of the cap, mostly because there's this Hindenburg that's pushing up towards the cap, and I can do nothing about him, and if he decides he's going to pop his hydroacoustic, well, I'm pretty well shit out of luck, if that is the case. In the meantime, my torpedoes headed toward that Jean Bart, and as I push up here, I am well inside of my detection range here, and so we can see the Hindenburg secondaries opening up at me. I still have over a minute before my next smokescreen. Since I'm detected anyway, though, I'm going to go ahead and open fire. I might as well. I've got full health. I've got a friendly Hindenburg back behind me who ideally and hopefully would push up here, especially since that guy's guns are pointing the opposite direction. He could absolutely get in here and get some hardcore citadels before running away. The Republic's secondaries are opening up on me. That is a French battleship, so he does have good secondaries there. Did manage to set a fire on the Hindenburg. That's nice. There's a second fire on the Hindenburg. Hopefully those will burn for a little bit. I did connect a torpedo on the Jean Bart, but I didn't actually manage to finish him off. So that guy is still alive briefly. He is starting to capture the B cap point. He doesn't have a lot of health left, so I'm kind of hoping that my team will be able to deal with him. In the meantime, the secondaries from this Republic are really laying into me. That's tier 10 French battleship secondaries for you. But look at this. My smokescreen is almost available. I put the fire out and I get my engine back up and running here so that hopefully no more problems. Have managed to survive, barely, with not a lot of health left. The enemy team now down to just 1 ship left as both the Hindenburg and the Jean Bart finally meet their end. Fire off 2 sets of torpedoes here. Look at that. Last torpedo boost reload there, giving me a second set of torpedoes, full set of torpedoes to launch out here. This Jean Bart is trying desperately to avoid the inevitable, but unfortunately for him at this range and the speed of my torpedoes, that's just not going to be the case. There was my Witherer award for causing 60,000 damage and firing and flooding, and there, another flooding kill for victory. Total damage, 203,000 in that, 3 kills. Witherer awarded their 13,000 experience, and this was during their credit boost, obviously, at over 1 million credits earned in a Tier 8 premium. Top of the team for XP earned at 2,800 base XP, very nice. Montana on the team, not something you see very often. Second on the team with over 2,000 base XP as well, so good job to him for that game. Anyway, that's it for today's video, folks. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below. If you'd like to get semi-regular channel news and updates, you can do so by liking and following me on Facebook. If you'd like to watch me play various games live, albeit very irregularly, you can do so by following me on Twitch. And if you've got a replay like this one that you'd like to have me take a look at, or maybe even see featured on my channel, you can do so by sending it to my email. You can find the links for all of those in the video description down below. And as always, I'll see you next time. This is Captain Rye, signing off.